Welcome, everybody. We are officially live. Manila. You're going to go through a basic training for U.S. and Australia. It really doesn't matter where you are. Training's all the same. And we're going to go through the basics of building your Zeal business. I'm going to ask Trace kind of add her input based on what they've been doing in Australia because they're building a huge team over there. So we're going to get this going. This should take about, I'd say, 45 minutes. My name is Mike McGrath. I'm a regional consultant with Zeal. I've been in the business, just had my year anniversary. So we've been having a lot of fun. I met Mike probably 4 months ago. Mike and Trace joined us about 4 months ago. Can you turn off your mic for a second, Trace?
Sure.
Met Mike and Trace a few years ago, but they actually ended up joining our Zeal team probably 4 months ago. And we're excited for them. They're doing huge things in Australia. So we wanted to put together this, multi-country team training to, number one, show people that it doesn't matter where you are. The training's still the same. The basics are still the same. There are a little bit of differences between Australia and the U.S., but it's not even going to affect what we're training on tonight because it doesn't matter as far as, because you guys don't have some things in Australia that we have, but the training's all the same. The basics is all the same. So I'm going to flip over to this PDF. Give me 1 second. So we're going to talk about building your Zeal business and the basics of building your Zeal business. Now, you guys should have the opportunity to put in questions on the side. There should be a chat section. We're going to pop in and out of this PowerPoint so we can answer those, but wait till we're done with a section. There's basically 5 things we're going to go over when you're building a Zeal business, and that is why. Number 1 is why. The rest of this, 2 through 5, is really the how, and the how does not matter one bit unless you have the reason why you decided to start a Zerbita business, Zeal business. So you really have to start with the why. And it sounds silly and people talk about it all the time. The why that makes you cry. Why are you doing this? You got to have a good why. And I thought it was silly until I got a lot of training on it and started drilling down. And what I mean by drilling down, we'll get there in a second, but the reason we do all this stuff, why do we do all this stuff? Why do we have the basics? Because success leaves clues. We're working with people that make $50,000, $20,000, $70,000, $100,000 a month in Zerbita. I mean, why reinvent the wheel? Why not just follow what they're doing? And we can have the same success they're having if you're willing to do what they're doing. So if you keep it simple, this is what we know and what we've learned. I highly encourage you guys to take notes, write this stuff down. We will have a recording of this, but there's a lot of evidence that suggests and tells us that when you write things down, you remember it a lot more and it sits in your brain a lot better. So take notes as we go along here. I guarantee you, if you stay for the whole thing, you're going to get 1 or 2 golden nuggets. I promise you that can change your Zerbita business. That's all it's about. I've read books that were hundreds of pages long that I've taken one thing out of that's changed my life. So stay with us through this, and I promise we're gonna bring you some value that's gonna help you. So if we keep it simple with basics, we know that simplicity leads to duplication, meaning your team is growing, and that means more money. That's the bottom line. Keep it simple. Your team grows, it means more money. So you can take an hour telling somebody and selling them on Zeal and the ingredients that are in the product and go through every single product, and there's 39 superfoods and 120 nutrients, and this does this and that does that, and we have a medical advisory board, and we have this, that, and the other thing. But people will do what you do, not what you say. So if you spend an hour explaining every ingredient in Zeal, and then you turn around and say, Trace, I know I just took an hour explaining every ingredient in Zeal, but I don't want you to do that, even if it gets that person to join, because Trace will turn around and do exactly what you did to her. So you're teaching people from the second you open your mouth. I'm telling you right now, it's just proven. So people do what you do, not what you say. So we're going to show you what to do, but it starts with why you're doing it. Now, you have to start off and figure out a couple things. I mean, is it more money? Is it more time? Is it to take a vacation? Is it just, to help charities and causes, to help other family members? There's somebody in Zervita, Leonard, that actually started his Zeal business to help his mother. The guy makes loads of money with his traditional business. And I had a conversation with him. The reason he started his Zeal business was to retire his mother. That's it. I'm telling you right now. So when you look at people, and there's two lessons there. Everybody's why is different. And also, you never know why, when you talk to someone about Zeal, why it will intrigue them, why it would excite them. Because looking at Leonard face value, the guy makes a ton of money. He lives a great lifestyle. Somebody was smart enough, I believe it was Will Watkins, to ask Leonard to take a look. And the rest is history. So you just never know. So is it to get out of debt? You have to drill down and ask yourself, why is that important to me? And find out the true reason through deeper questions. So I'll give you an example. And Trace, I'll ask you to unmute in a few seconds here to share your take on this. So let's say it's more time. Well, why do you want more time? Well, I want more time because I can spend more time. And then I'll tell you what my why is. It's more time with my son and my wife. Well, why do I want more time with my son and my wife? Because I've worked traditional businesses. I've worked my bones to just ground them right down, and had not as much time as I would like, but I'm being a provider. So that's noble and great. That's fantastic. But I want more time with my family. Why is that important to me? Because I don't want my son to grow up the way I grew up without my father around, because my dad was a provider for our family. So you keep asking yourself, why is that important? Why is that important? Why is that important? Trace, do you want to share kind of how you train this to your team and what your why is? I think you can unmute. There you are.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me? Excellent. Okay, well basically our why is Mike and I have been together for 21 years, and ever since we've met each other, we've basically been starting our own traditional businesses. We've done businesses from carpet cleaning to security to God knows what. We've done it all. And the truth of the matter is, and we've tried everything. We've tried traditional business, thinking that, self-employment, things like that. And to be quite honest, the only way that we're actually going to have time and money, time freedom, like the real freedom from, being a slave to the system, because we're a little bit of a rebel, is residual income. That's the reason why Mike and I started with Zeal. That's the reason why Mike and I actually got into network marketing. So basically, it's just a matter of creating a residual income where, I get to sleep in till 11 o'clock. Mike loves wearing his pajamas every day, and we work from home every day. That's pretty much what we do with Zeal. That's the reason why we're doing Zeal, and that's why we're pushing so hard. It's because the only real time money and only real time freedom is by networks marketing, via residual income. And everybody that joins Zeal, they all know that, because we sit them down and we go through their whys. And Mike's right, your why is what makes you cry, but you really delve into it and sit there and sort of write it out and just read it to yourself and read it to others and just basically, believe in it, because we're so busy and we're so distracted with everything that we do per day, trying to make ends meet, that you don't actually sit down and, you're bogged down with everything else. So when you really sit down and you think to yourself, why is the real reason why you want to, have residual income and have time, money and time freedom? It's the real reason why: to be with your family, to have more time, to retire your mother, to not, work, 12 hours a day for 7 days a week. So that's exactly why we're doing it.
Awesome. Thank you. So we'll move on here, guys, to this is why it's important. And when you drill into what your why is, you have to decide, it's got to be something that makes it worth it to you. And I just heard a story about Nelson Mandela. I think it was a Les Brown training. And Les Brown is one of my mentors. I love listening to the guy. And one of the things he says, you know, is it worth it? And he talks about Nelson Mandela, that the guy was in captivity, I think, for 27 years. And he had multiple opportunities to just do what they were asking him to do and confess and agree to say what they wanted him to say, and they would let him go free. And he never did it. And when he got out, they asked him that question. You know, why didn't you just get out? You could have been with your family. You could have been with your friends. Why didn't you just do what they were asking you to do? And he said, because what I was doing was worth it. That's what you have to have. You have to have a why that's worth it, because success is never easy. You're going to have ups and downs. You got to fight through those times by having something strong enough to keep you anchored and keep you from quitting, quite frankly. So when you're struggling, always talk to somebody that has more experience than you, because they're going to be able to share their struggle. We all go through it. And I love this. Never take advice from somebody in a worse situation than you. I've had people, you know, that don't wipe their butt that want to tell me what toilet paper I should use. You know, don't take advice from people like that. I mean, really, you got to consider the source. That sounds, it's a cliche, but you got to go to people that have had success, that are doing what you're doing. And they will share with you that, listen, we've gone through the same thing. You're going to go through it too. One of the other sayings I like is never quit on a bad day. You're going to have them. And if you think you're going to quit on a bad day, just quit today. Don't wait for it to happen, because you're going to have bad days. It's life. Life's going to hand you some things you don't like. People are going to say no. People aren't going to show up for certain things. They're going to tell you they're going to do stuff. They're not going to do stuff. That's people. The only person you can control is yourself. So if you choose not to quit, you can't fail. The difference between success and failure is those times, I promise you, where things get really difficult and you're wondering, is it worth it? Can I do this? Did I make the right choice? Every single time I've thought that, and I've said, I'm not going to quit today. I'm going to do what people have told me, that, you know, and you've seen the image of the guy digging for diamonds underground, and he quits and he's about 6 inches away from the diamonds. So you got to keep digging. You got to dig deep. You got to get back to why you decided to do this business. Trace, you want to share anything with that?
All I know is it doesn't matter if it takes 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. What's, you know, working hard for, if it takes you 10 years in comparison to working 40 days for 40 years to have like 40 hours a week to have, what, $10,000 to retire on. Doesn't matter what it is, guys. Do not ever quit, because it might even take you 30 years, but you know what? It doesn't matter, because you're creating residual income. All I can say is Mike and I are never going to quit, and we're looking for, you know, retirement, or, you know, to be home every single day with our babies and earning awesome residual income in about 3 years' time. May even take us longer, but you know what? We're never going to quit, because we don't quit, do we? We don't quit as network marketers. We don't quit. No.
Love it. Love the fire. So let's move on. We're about 15 minutes in. So, but your why, I got to spend some time on that. If you're new to our team, spend some time on that. Reach out to us. And I don't care if you're in Australia or anywhere. You can reach out to me, get my contact info. I'm more than happy to help anybody figure this stuff out, because if there is one critical part that keeps you from quitting, it's that. It's figuring out why you're doing this. You just got to figure out what it is, and it will change. Don't think that you have to have the same thing. You know, it's like when you're 6 years old and you want to be a firefighter. Well, you know, that changes. Your why changes. You know, what you wanted to be a firefighter back then because you wanted to wear a red hat. Well, things change. So once we have our why established, we move on to building a list of people to contact. One of the most common things that I hear from people that join network marketing is, I don't know anybody. I don't have anybody to talk to. Or, you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 days in, I've talked to everybody I know. Well, I'm here to tell you, the average person knows 228 people. So,
wow,
it's a lot of people, and it's not. This is all about. I mean, especially in an age of, we have such technology now to find people to talk to, that you just start with your basics: phone contacts, Facebook friends, LinkedIn, work, family. You can ask for referrals. That's a whole other thing, but that's another way that we keep building our list. Your list is your inventory. So if you're selling cell phones, if you have a cell phone store, you need cell phones. If you don't have cell phones, that business is dead. So our inventory as network marketers is our list, is the people we know. You've got to keep adding to it. So if you talk to 2 people today, I highly suggest you find 2 other people to add to that list. So it's a growing asset. That's what your list is. Who we're looking for, you know, Trace and Mike Pinella are the perfect example of who I was looking for. And there's something to be said also for, if you can describe who you're looking for, you got to know who you're looking for, because really it's almost like a target. You need to see the target if you're going to hit it. And I almost didn't call Mike and Trace. They had a lot going on. And I just reached out to Mike and said, Mike, would you just take a look at what we're doing? You know, we were catching up a little bit. And he said, you know, just basically out of respect for you, I'll take a look. You know, God, I think back and it makes me sweat, Trace. But if I hadn't made that contact, you know, I mean, but things happen for a reason. They happen when they're supposed to happen. And these guys, they're the epitome of my top 25, who I look for. Money motivated, successful, health conscious, business owners. They have influence, and they are the biggest thing. They are doers, not thinkers. They're not people that sit around and say, if I could do this, I would. God, it'd be great if we could do this. And they just say, well, I don't know how we're going to do it, but let's jump. And if the parachute opens on the way down, it opens. I mean, that's what you're looking for, right? You want to share on that, Trace?
Yes, that's exactly who we're looking for. I think with Mike and I think the thing that we do basically is we don't really worry. I think when people struggle with, you know, their list of people, it's because they're scared to ask, because they obviously don't have enough confidence in network marketing. So I think with Mike and I, as Mike's right, we just jump in. If the parachute opens, it opens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you know what, at least we're giving it a go. So I think with Mike and I, it doesn't matter who they are, you know, whether they're highly, you know, high up in positions or anything like that, doesn't scare us anymore. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, well, what's the worst they're going to say is no. You know what I mean? But at least you know you can say, and you're putting up your confidence as well. But at least you know you can say, okay, yep, absolutely scared, pique their interest, but they said no. No just doesn't mean now, like it just means not now. Okay, because something could happen in about 6 months' time when they decide, hang on, come across you again, and wow, you guys still doing that thing? Yeah, we're going great, guns. Okay, I'd like to have a look at it now. You never know what could happen, guys. So just keep going. Don't be scared.
Right. Well, it's funny because, and I'll show this slide now. The answer is always no if you don't ask. You know, people get afraid to, you know, they're worried that people are going to say no. And I'll say, well, it's already no. If you don't say a word to them, the answer is always no. So let's get on to the invitation. I love, love, love the psychology behind the invitation. I won't get into the whole psychology of it, but no, oh my God, don't make me talk to people. Well, guess what? You're a network marketer, so we got to get to the nitty gritty, and you got to talk to people, period. Pique their interest. Now, the definition of pique is to arouse, stimulate, or excite. I actually spelled that wrong, sorry. So that's what we're trying to do. And these are just one-liners that the idea being, well, let's go through a few of these. And I love the, you're not allergic to money, are you? I asked that question today, and I love to also ask questions that I know the answer to. Nobody has ever answered that with, yes, I am allergic to money. Nobody, ever, that I've asked. I've asked hundreds of people that now. Your excitement when you say, hey, you got to check this out. Whether that's in person, whether it's over the phone. Listen, I'm onto something big. I thought of you. You've got to check this out. You're not allergic to money, are you? So you can use these together. And these are just examples. Again, it's not so much, it is what you say really, but you want to ask a question or pique their interest so that they have interest. That you want to get them to a home party, and we'll go over that. Or you want to get them to some information. You're just a tour guide. That's all you're doing, is directing people to some sort or piece of information. You know, what are you doing Wednesday at 6? Because home parties are big. Mike and Trace have a meeting every Wednesday. So that's a simple question. What are you doing Wednesday at 6? Well, I don't know. What's up? Well, listen, I can't tell you now. If you come, we'll share everything with you. Well, what is it? Listen, is it okay if I keep you in suspense till you get there? I promise we're not going to kidnap you, throw you in a van, and bury you down by the river. I mean, I keep it fun, but serious. There is an intensity when I talk to people that they know I sound different and something's up. They don't know what it is, but that's how you get people to look. You've got to sound a little different. Your posture's got to be a little different. You want to chime in, Trace? You want to share, Trace?
Sorry, I didn't unmute. Okay, so I spoke to, and as an example, we've got our meeting, a regular meeting tonight at 7. And I said to my friend the other day, I said, listen, I said, Tushin, what are you doing at, Wednesday at 7 o'clock? He's like, why? I said, well, listen, I have to show you what we're doing. He's like, what is it? I said, look, I need you to come have a look. I said, because if you don't come and have a look, then I'm not going to be doing my job. I need to show you, so at least I can say that you've seen it. And if, in 6 months' time, if you happen to say no, in 6 months' time, when you see that how well we're doing, you know that you were the one that said no, not me. Kind of turn it around back on them. He's just like, okay, I'm there. And so that's how we basically do. We just keep it simple. Yeah. You throw it around on them, so they've actually. So it's like fear of losing them in a way. Absolutely. That's what I like to do anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's we each and guys, 6 + 3 is 9 and 5 + 4 is 9. It's two different ways to get to the same result. So you find things that you like. You may hear something that you really like that sounds like something you would say. That you have to make these things your own. You don't want to ask a question or use words that people would look at you sideways and say, what are you doing? That doesn't sound anything like you. Like, who got you over the weekend? Who brainwashed you? Because then you're fighting an uphill battle, and then you're all uncomfortable and embarrassed, and so we don't want that. Again, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So the idea being, you want to pique their interest, and I think it's on another slide here, but you don't want to, I think one of the concerns is this: when you ask a question, especially if you see somebody, in public or something, you think you need to present to them. And all you're doing is piquing their interest to see if they're basically open to say, hey, can I reach out to you later? You're not allergic to money, are you? No, I'm not allergic to money. Great. I'm going to call you later. Is that cool? Give me 2 minutes. That's all you're doing is piquing their interest. If they want a little bit more information, you can say, listen, I'm working on something huge. I know you're going to want to be a part of it if you see it the way I saw it. You're giving them a trailer to a movie. If you ask somebody, when you see a movie or a great restaurant, you give them your experience. It's your excitement. They can tell you love the movie, but nobody ever wants you to tell them the whole movie. They'll say, don't tell me the whole thing. It sounds awesome. I'll go see it. So you're giving them a trailer. Give them a little bit, just enough, the carrot on the string. All you're doing is trying to get them to take a look. So a home party is one of the ways that we get people together to take a look at the information. Hey, I only have a minute, but what are you doing Wednesday at 6? Nothing. Why? Listen, I need your help with a project I'm working on. Will Watkins uses this with guys because we're too cool for home parties. What is it? Like I said, and I love the I only have a minute because you're in a hurry. You're setting the stage when you say I only have a minute, that when that question comes up, and it'll come up, what is it? You go back to, like I said, I only have a minute. Is it okay if I keep you in suspense until you get here? People respect that you're busy. And if they keep prodding you, you can say, listen, I only told you I had a minute. I'm heading out to a meeting. I got to go to work. I got to whatever. Listen, if you can't make it, you can't make it, but I can't explain it to you over the phone. Great. I'll see you at my house at 6. Now, here's something that I see a lot of people, and part of it's from inexperience. So listen, these are skills that you learn, but if they can't make it, I'm too busy, kids got soccer, whatever, something's going on, a lot of people drop it there. I don't. And I suggest and would tell you, if they can't make it, to say, listen, I'm sorry you can't make it, but I need to get some information out to you right away. Because you're calling them with excitement. There is some urgency. At least you sound like there's some urgency for them to see it. I would not drop that ball there. I send them to information. If I sent you, a video, would you watch it? Set a follow-up, the whole deal. We'll talk about follow-up. But That's the home party. You're just trying to get people. And Trace, you can, I know you talked about it briefly, if you want to add a little bit to this, because you do your meeting every week, and you just shared how you do it. I love how you guys do it.
Yeah, well, I also put into the mix, we have limited positions. So, I just want to, book your position, or if they can't make it, well, okay, let me book you for next week, Dal, because I've got a lot of other people that are wanting to come. I just want to make sure that I have a seat for you. That's another way to do it.
Love it. So let's go through the 4 parts to the invite, really. And we went through it in a hurry. I only have a minute. I'm just leaving. I'm in a hurry. You ask the question, whatever the question is. Are you allergic to money? Do you keep your options open? Can you come over the house? Whatever. This is more geared towards, I do a lot of stuff over the phone. I just love the phone. And I can call in the truck on the way to a meeting. I can call on the way to a job site, whatever. We got lots of windshield time, right, guys? So you can call someone up and say, great, if I blank, would you blank? If I sent you a video, would you watch it? If I gave you a magazine, would you read it? If I gave you a number to call in, would you listen in? If I asked you to come check out what we're doing, would you come? Could I save a seat for you? And now if you're sending them information, it's how soon. And the things I want to stress here are like the word soon, I'm in a hurry. Those are the important parts. That's the psychology behind it. Because when you ask how soon could you watch it, it creates urgency and shows that you're serious. How soon means I'm not waiting forever. You set the follow-up before you send the information. That's number 3. You don't send the information and then chase them down. You set a follow-up. You treat this like a business. You just set a follow-up. If no, then it's a no. If they're not willing to go through the process the way you want them to go through, don't bother with them, because what that means is they want to do things their own way. They're not, and if you follow this, I promise you, 99 out of 100 times, in 30 to 45 seconds, you can get somebody to say, yes, I'll look at the information and book a follow-up, and you're off the phone. It's that quick. Trace?
Absolutely. Fortune is always in the follow-up. So I think that's where a lot of network marketers tend to sort of fall down, is that they don't actually follow up, or they're scared to follow up. They'll send them the information, but they'll be too scared to call them, because they think that sending the information and them viewing it is enough. It's not enough, guys. Always follow up. That's what we do. That's how we have success.
Yeah, so I totally agree. Our only job is to get somebody to look at it. That's it. Whether it's look at it at Dooley's, at where Mike and Trace have their presentations, to look at it on their cell phone during lunch, to look at it on a tablet if you're meeting with them for coffee, to whatever. You just want them to look at the information. That's our only job. We get so hung up on what if they say no, what if they say yes. Wow, this guy's going to be fantastic. You won't believe it. This girl's going to be great. And then they say no. And then you're bummed. And then this doesn't work. And then I don't know what I'm doing. And that's when you better have a strong why, because you got to keep going. So if you realize your only job is to get them to look, and it's a numbers game. You really, professionals and people that have done this a long time, and I think Trace and Mike would agree, we welcome the no's. We welcome the quick no's, because we know that the yeses are coming. It's just a numbers game. And if you go to smalltownbuzz.com, if you click on the upper left-hand corner, I believe it is, it opens up kind of a secret page. I'm not sure if Trace and Mike know this, but Jim Rohn's Success in Network Marketing, the recording is on there. There's a funny little cartoon about, is this a pyramid scheme? There's another audio, I forget what it's called, that Jerry Bottle put on there. Listen to Jim Rohn's CD and listen to that audio, because he said it's a numbers game. Talk to 10, get 1. Talk to 10, get 1. Talk to 10, get 2. As your skills increase, more people will sign up. So we're not in the convincing business. That's not what it's about. Effective follow-up, we've made sure that you set a definite follow-up time when you invited them, right? So now we can call them at the specified time. And unless they've told you otherwise, I don't mind when someone texts me and say, listen, it's not for me. I may ask for a referral, but a lot of times when people say no, they're not going to give you a referral if they don't think this is a viable business or whatever. So they're not interested. That's okay. Not everybody likes black licorice. That's what I think also. Listen, we have something that not everybody's going to like. That's fine. We're just trying to find the ones that do. You call them back. Hey, John, did you look at the info I sent? No. If they say no, reschedule the follow-up. Don't get pulled down a rabbit hole trying to explain it. Well, hey, I just thought maybe you could explain it to me. Nope, I can't. Sorry, I got to run. I got too many people to follow up with. Listen, how soon could you really watch it, and laugh? And if they, you got to gauge too. If there's no urgency on their part, say, listen, I'll follow up with you in a month. I'll give you a call in a couple of weeks. I want to be respectful of my time and your time. And that's just posture. Say, listen, the timing's just off for you right now. So I'll reach out to you in a couple of weeks. I got to run, but I appreciate you at least being there when I call back. Have an awesome day. Okay, if they say yes, they did watch the info. Great. What did you like? And here's psychology. What did you like best about what you saw, read, heard? Doesn't matter, whatever information you sent them. They're going to tell you what they like best. I loved that it's all natural. I love that average people are making money. I love whatever. And you say, you know what? I felt the same way. That I totally agree with you. Listen, do you have any questions? And questions are good. Questions indicate interest. I've actually sat down with people that have looked at the information and they seem excited. And I said, so what did you think? Wow, it looks really great. It looks fantastic. Awesome. So what'd you like? It looks like, there's some serious money to be made. Yeah, I totally agree. I felt the same way. Do you have any questions? Nope. I got no questions. No questions at all? Nope. Okay, well, it sounds like you're ready to get started. Nope. No, I'm not ready to get started. So if they're asking questions, don't take that as a bad thing. Questions are good. So they have questions. We go to the three-way call. So critical. I'm going to ask you to chime in here as well, Trace. This is why it works, guys. I love this graphic. So it's you. The reason people look, and Trace and Mike are a perfect example again. They looked because they trusted our friendship. They also respected me, but they trusted our friendship enough to look. That's why people look. So it's you and your prospects. Well, they may not know you as a network marketer. They may not know you as a business person. They may not know you as anybody, whatever. If you don't fit that, it's tough for them to make the connection between making a lot of money. Maybe you haven't made a lot of money before. It's tough for them to make that connection. So you bring in the expert. They will respect your expert based on, because they trust you, based on how you edify that person. So when you bring somebody else in, you say, listen, I've been working with Jerry Botto for a year now. He's super successful. He's a national director. He's really knowledgeable. He knows a lot about the company. In fact, he met with the owners before he joined the company. He's been extremely helpful to me. I talk to him twice a day, and he talks to team members at least that many times. And really the best thing is we have a blast. He's got a humor like mine. It's really dry, and he's just a funny guy. So I really want you to, him to answer your questions, because I want to make sure, and this is respect, I want to make sure, Trace, that I get yours and Mike's questions answered correctly, accurately, and effectively, because I want to make sure you get all the answers to your questions. Jerry, this is Mike and Trace. Mike and Trace, this is Jerry, and you leave it alone. Trace, you want to share?
That's exactly right, Mike. Three-way calls are very important, especially when you're first starting out, because you're not very confident. We probably feel like you're not very confident with the information. So it's always good, for example, to have someone like Mike to do a three-way call, or someone that can present the business, answer any questions that you're unsure of, or have someone that has been in the business longer than what you have, which instills confidence and trust. And they're basically showing their expertise as well. So it gives you credibility and gives you confidence, and it gives them they trust in what you're doing. So very important. Three-way calls are an awesome tool and very effective as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, and also, again, we go back to, what we're training people from the second we open our mouth, and the process, the experience they have from when you pique their interest to, and we're getting there, to the end when they make a decision. That's their experience. They will do that. And I want to make sure that I say this, and that nobody is different. In the beginning, when we're new, especially when we're taking it to people that may be above our social status, and that may be relational, meaning our successful uncle, our parents, people we know, that are really successful, we think that we can do this process differently with them. And I've heard it many times. I did it in the beginning 4 years ago. You know, I would say, well, this guy's different. You know, I'm just going to, well, he asked me, so I just felt like I needed to tell him. Guys, nobody is different, because all you're doing is shooting yourself in the foot if you don't take them through this process. Because like we said in the beginning, they will do what you do, not what you say. You cannot tell somebody, listen, normally we do a 3-way call right now, but you know what? We've been buds for a long time, 25 years. I know this stuff. I can answer all your questions. No one's saying that you don't know it. It's about the process and the system that works. So treat everybody the same. The people that have higher social status, or, excuse me, that you would view as too good to go through the process, you are really hurting yourself if you don't take them through the process, because successful people use systems, period. They're not normally, they don't do things on their own, totally different. They love systems. Systems work. That's why McDonald's is so successful. That's why people buy franchises. There are systems in place, and that's why they're valuable. So that's what we have. Use the system. This was the process. Oh, the process of the 3-way call. So I'll go through this pretty quick. So we've called somebody. We've called up John, 3 p.m. Hey, John, it's Mike following up with you. Did you get a chance to watch all the info I sent? I did. What'd you like best? Me too. Do you have any questions? Yes. How much is it going to cost? Who's going to help me? How do you do it? This is what I say. And Jerry Botto, I know, actually sets it up before the 3-way call to say, when I call you back, I want you to talk to my buddy Will. You know, he's had success. He warms them up. I don't. You can do this. Both ways work. I like simple. So all I say is, listen, that's a great question. Hold on. Your phone may look similar to this. There is an add call button, this plus sign. So when you click that add call, you put the first person on hold. And I know I'm finding out more and more, not a lot of people don't know how to do this, and I wanted to include this, so hopefully you don't mind, Trace. You click the plus button that adds a call. The first person goes on hold. You're calling me, Jerry, somebody. I say, Jerry, I got Trace on the line. She's excited. She's a firecracker. And she wants to know how to make the money, how the comp plan works. And I just want you to kind of go over the comp plan really quickly with her. And I wanted to introduce you to her. So I merge the calls, this double arrow here. Now everybody's on the conference call. And I say, hey, Trace, this is Jerry again. Edify Jerry, blah, 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 blah. And then I stay quiet. Once I pass that call to Jerry, I stay quiet. This is really important too. I may say it twice. Once you pass the call off, you do not say a word until the person, the expert you edified and brought on this call, gives the call back to you, meaning, hey, Mike, sounds like Trace is about to get started. Why don't you get her on your website, show her options. Looks like she wants the builder's pack, and get her going. If you interrupt and say, hey, Jerry, can you tell Trace about how much money you've made? Can you tell him about Andy Dooley? Can you tell him about what's in the product? And because she's a product girl, can you tell her? You totally ruined the purpose of a 3-way call, which is to bring an expert in. If you're interrupting, you're saying to your friend, I'm saying to Trace, Jerry's not the expert. I'm the expert. I'm going to tell him what to tell you. So don't interrupt. Be a good student. That's where you learn how to do 3-way calls. That's where you learn a lot of stories. Jerry and Will and Andy and Tracy Davis and all these guys, Jody Davis, everybody has great stories and relatability depending on who you're talking to. They'll know somebody. They'll bring up someone that has some sort of background similar to the person you have on the phone. What do you say, Trace?
All right, that's better. Totally agree. Totally agree. 3-way calls are the way to go. Was that was through the iPhone that last slide, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was iPhones? Okay, cool. I don't use iPhones so I've got to figure out how to use an Android. But we do have 3-way calls, and it's absolutely simple and amazing. And there's always somebody that you can relate to, for example, Will and Mike are very similar. So there's always someone, if I was trying to get Mike in, I'd probably call Will and have a 3-way call with him. And, vice versa. So yeah, absolutely use it. It's very effective.
And the Android, because I've had an Android, it's similar. The screens do look similar, so they're not totally different than each other, but it's similar. They have the plus button and the merge call, so it's not too different. But
awesome.
Love this quote. Winners have simply formed the habit of doing things losers don't want to do. And this goes back to learning skills, knowing your why, and being a student of network marketing. And I hope this stuff isn't boring to you guys, because this stuff fires me up. It's teaching habits. Once you get these habits, it's second nature. And your team, the people that are looking for the same thing, I say this, there are a lot of people that will not do what we're training. And I was one of them a few years ago. I was a sales guy. I've been self-employed my whole life. But I learned in a few months that if I wanted what these people were getting, whether it was money, time, freedom, whatever, I needed to step in line and do what they were doing. You know, so the more you follow this process, the more your team will do it. That's where true leverage is. When you have a lot of people doing these simple habits over and over and over and over and over again. Here's the truth. This may be shocking. Most people don't make a lot of money in network marketing. And guess what else? Most people don't do three-way calls. And I was shocked when I heard that. Jerry told it to me. But then I think back to when I started. I was trying to explain everything. So again, success leaves clues. The high income earners use three-way calls. Andy Dooley does three-way calls. Brad Murray does three-way calls. A guy that makes $100,000 a month, why would he have to do three-way calls? He knows all about the company because they work. He's showing people what to do by what he does. He's not telling them what to do. He's showing them what to do. That's extremely important. So here's the last part. We're on perfect timing here, Trace. I love it. And then I'd actually like to, we'll take the screen off and do a little, we may have some questions, I'm not sure. So getting a decision, plugging them in. That's the last piece. So once you've answered all their questions, the natural statement really is, sounds like you're ready to get started. It's a question or it's question/statement that a lot of people won't ask. They're afraid. They're afraid to say it. But I'm going to tell you from experience that your prospects are looking for direction. They want to know what the next step is. Again, they've never been through this process. So they may be sitting there and, you know, you've answered all their questions and you're kind of waiting for them to take out their credit card and jump up and down and do cartwheels. I've never had anybody do that. I've had people that are excited. So sometimes that's the statement. Sounds like you're ready to get started. If they say, well, I don't know, and they have more questions, answer their questions and ask it again. Well, now that we've answered that question, is there any other question that we need to ask or to answer for you, or are you ready to get started? Because if you're answering their questions, the natural progression, because questions are interest, is that they want to get started. You show them their options. You don't push them anyway. They decide, and we get them signed up. And then we take them through this entire training as well. So like Trey said earlier, a no is a not now sometimes. But make sure you listen and hear what they're saying, not what you're hoping. So listen and hear what they're saying, not what you're hoping. You're hoping for a sign up, but a lot of times what they're telling you is not now or no. They may be saying no. A lot of times that happens sooner when they say no, but you want to share, Trace?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, a no is a no. No to me is not now. And whether they can say no to me 10 times, I'm still going to call them every 6 months and see where they're traveling. That's until right. They say yes, you know. And that's the same thing when you just don't ever give up on people. If you believe they're going to be good at it, they just don't know it yet. That's the thing. So, you know, a no is a not now. That's exactly right. And a no is going to be a not now until I get a yes. That's how we do it at Team Limitless.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
No, and I've had people, God, it's 7 or 8 months now. I had a guy last week reach out to me, and, you know, I had invited him. I invite, like you say, I invite, you know, my prospects, if they've looked at the information there or not now, every time we have a get together, an event, Will comes to town, whatever, I invite all those people. And he kept saying, I'll try to get there. I said, listen, last time I said, listen, I know what try means. My experience tells me that try means you're not coming. So just tell me you're not coming. And he didn't show. He reached out to me last week and said, via Facebook, and said, listen, I'm done trying. Let's do this. So
Beautiful.
People are watching you, right? People are watching what you're doing. They want to make sure you're still in this thing you started. So stay consistent, because they're going to be looking for you for direction. They're going to be looking for you to see what you've been doing. And if you haven't been doing anything, number one, you need to revisit your why. Number two, there's something up with your belief, really. Now, we all have ups and downs. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you can go 1,000 miles an hour all the time. You can't. I mean, you get burned out. I get it. And there's ebbs and flows to any business. This is a business. So, but do something. Stay consistent. You know, talk to prospects. You're just planting seeds, and those seeds will come back like this guy did. And he's one of 4 or 5 in the last probably 2 weeks that have come to me, because I haven't been pushy, right, Trace? We don't push.
No, we don't push.
We have them look at the information.
And that's a perfect example of not now, of no being not now. Perfect example.
Yeah. And he has a great reason. I asked him, you know, and here's something I wanted to say earlier that I forgot, which I'm glad I remembered, being old. Be transparent with people. It doesn't have to be this icky, salesy, whatever. Use your words, but be straight with people. And I've learned to just say, why'd you change your mind? You know, what has changed in your life? Or, you know, why did you decide to reach out to me now? Because that's their why. I mean, for someone to come to you, and let's face it, it's not, if you put yourself in their position, that's not you know, there may be some embarrassment, that there may be some fear to come out. There's a strong reason. And this guy's reason was his son. So I can relate to that. His son's close to my son's age. So ask them, find out why they're doing this, because that's where the motivation lies. And if you can, you know, when they have tough days and I have to go back to my why, and if you're helping them and training them, you know, when they say, geez, Mike, I don't know if this is going to work. Say, listen, if you told that to your son right now, what kind of response do you think you'd get? Daddy, don't quit. Daddy, I know you can do it. Daddy, you're great. That's what I go back to. I mean, people are watching us, including our kids. Trace, I know you and Mike, that is a huge, huge why for you guys. And we are absolutely, we are training our kids to be who we are. And I believe that. And I hate to be harsh, but if you quit, you're not quitting on us. You're really not quitting on you. You're quitting on your kids if you have kids. You're quitting on your future. You're quitting on, I mean, I don't get it.
And you're also teaching your children that it's okay to quit as well, and that's not okay.
Yeah, that when things get hard, you're just not going to do it. And so let's get to so plugging them in. Oh, I just got a message. Sorry.
Multitasking.
This is Danielle actually asked this. So when people say, you know, not now or a no, who do you know? Ask for referrals. We talk about building our list. And that's a great one, is that, you know, someone may say, listen, I got too much on my plate right now. I actually did this 2 days ago. A guy I showed the business to right when I started, almost a year ago. I reached out to him because he's in Canada. And I've learned to ask people in different countries, right, Trace? And
yeah, you do.
So I asked this guy, I said, hey, are you still doing, he was in another company. I said, are you still in blank company? He said, no, I haven't done anything with them in a while. I'm actually doing pretty well with he does drone filming. He uses drones for filming. And he said, why, what's up? And I said, listen, I know this isn't for you, but I really want to bust into Canada. And I would appreciate, you know, a couple referrals of some money motivated, health conscious, you know, successful business people, because I'm going into Canada. No one's going to stop me. I'm taking that country. And he got back to me and said, hey, I got 2 bodybuilders, 2 male bodybuilders, a female bodybuilder, and a business guy that are, what would you say to them? And I said, I'd ask them if they're allergic to money. And he laughed and he said, God, that's good. I said, well, pique their interest. If they like money, let's see if they like money. And then he came back to me and said, listen, and I forget how he said it. I asked him a question. I said, well, I didn't think you were interested. He says, come on. He goes, I'm a business guy too. And if these guys are going to jump in, and this blew me away. He says to me, I'm going to ask you if I can sign up first.
Nice.
Now, when you have people asking you to sign up, like it's almost an inconvenience to me. That's what he was saying. I said, hey, I can totally respect that. Let's work together. Let's put together a plan to talk to these people. So great question, Danielle. Who do you know? Who do you know that's successful? Who do you know that's looking for something different? Who do you know that was downsized? Who do you know that's lost their job? Who do you know that needs to make extra income? Who do you know? That's a great question. So plugging them in, and we've kind of covered all this. Well, not all of it. Plugging people in when they start, you've got to work with them on their list and their calls. So you got to go over the three-way call. I have called people on other people's lists together. They've actually called with me on the phone. We haven't done it a lot, but it is a way if somebody's really afraid and won't pick up the phone, what do you have to lose? To say, listen, just tell your friend, hey, this is Trace. And this is going back to being transparent. Listen, I was scared to death to call you, but Mike and I are onto something. I have my friend Mike on the phone with me. I want you to know that. Can you give us 2 minutes? And then I can see if they're open to taking a look at something. You can do that, guys. You can use us. That's what we're here for. Because again, if you don't ask, it's a no. If you don't pick up the phone, it's a no. Okay, maybe they don't like that you got someone on the phone. Well, whatever. If you didn't make the call, nothing would happen anyway. So you can do that. Team calls, conference calls. We've done launch calls, with Australia and the US, different time zones. So these guys, their meetings are, and we love getting up at 3:30 in the morning. I honestly don't mind it to Skype into Australia, but you got to do your own team calls. We can do launch calls for you. Get on the corporate conference calls. You've got to plug in, because guess what? If your team member, for whatever reason, cannot make a call, and the next day says, Mike, what did they talk about on the call? And you don't know, do you think they're going to get on calls? Probably not. So they do what you do, not what you say. Events. This Google Hangout is an event. The meetings at Dooley's is an event. The meetings we have at the Church of the King, that's an event. National convention in 3 weeks, a huge, huge, huge event that you should be at, no questions asked. If Mike and Trace and looks like 3 other people are coming from Australia, you can be there. Find a way. Self-development. Jim Rohn, Les Brown, John Maxwell, Anthony Robbins. My business and my life have changed through self-development. Anybody that knows me in high school knows that I did not study. I did well for not studying. I was fortunate. I didn't like school. But when I tell people that I've read over 200 books in the last 2 years, they pretty much, their jaw hits the floor and they wonder if I was replaced with some alien being. But I really love training and I love self-development. I went to Tony Robbins, blew my mind. I know that I'll be there with Mike and Trace and some of their team and Danielle. I know Anthony Robbins is the bomb. So they will teach their team what they experience. You guys are experiencing this because of what Trace and Mike have learned, what I've learned. They'll do what you do. Want to take it, Trace?
Exactly right. Invest in your business, guys. You think sometimes, oh, Anthony Robbins is a little bit expensive, but you know what? It's worth the money. You have to invest in your business. And also, guys, just remember, I know we're about to wrap up, but just remember, you're going to always have a lot of support. That's what your upline's for. That's what Mike's for. Mike and I are here as well. If you ever need, in Australia, we're here as well. You got Will Watkins, Jen Watkins, Jerry Botto, amazing. But also just remember, guys, this is supposed to be fun. So just have fun. Okay, just have fun with it. That's all I've got to say. Have fun, because it's really a lot of fun. You learn a lot while you're having fun. Okay, it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be, okay, yes, you're out of your comfort zone, but you know what? Enjoy being out of your comfort zone, but still have fun, because people are going to always support you.
Very true. And I heard this, I'm not sure who I heard it from. I got another message. I want to make sure that I'm answering questions here. One of them, John just got 2 cell numbers for people that are looking to make some more money. Yahoo.
Beautiful.
So new team members. I'm not sure where I got this. This is not mine, but I love it. They're like newborn babies when they start. You can't just send them out there because they're just going to sit there in traffic and wonder, where am I? What the hell am I doing out here? You need to help them until they can crawl. And crawl may be make some calls, do some follow-ups. You've got to be a part of that process. And how do kids learn? Kids learn from watching you, from you helping them, showing them what's possible. That's huge. Showing them what's possible. When somebody's down in the dumps and they're not making phone calls and they're not doing stuff, it's not your job to baby them, especially if they have the skills. It's your job, and I use this analogy, when some people want to keep you where they're at, and you can love them where they're at, but you got to be willing to walk away and let them catch up, and you let them see you doing and showing them what's possible. You show them that you can sponsor people. You show them that you follow the process. They learn to walk on their own and feed themselves. You'd never leave a baby to their own decisions in the beginning, but once they have the tools, you've got to let them make their decisions and do what they need to do for themselves. This is sponsorship. And this was something I learned a couple of years ago. We talk about recruit. Recruiting is signing somebody up and leaving that baby in the street. Sponsor means to introduce and support. If you're going to sponsor somebody, it is your responsibility and duty and obligation to support them. That doesn't mean drag them along. That doesn't mean baby them. That doesn't mean any of that. That means you need to show them what to do by what you do, not telling them. You show them by actions. You show them what's possible. That's how they learn. And eventually, like myself, like Trace, Mike, Danielle, John, people learn this stuff, and you're looking for someone that's going to run and almost run past you. You want to be like, "Ooh, how did that person, where did they go? Like, I don't know what he's doing, but I want to go where he's going." People will also follow people if they're on fire. They'll chase you to watch you burn. So we go back to sounding different, acting different. People are watching you on Facebook. So be respectful, be businesslike, stick to your guns. I'm telling you, it's by what you show people is possible. Some people will come out of the woodwork and say, you know what, I've been watching you for 6 months. And I think it's time that I need to hear some more about this. So let me stop this. There we are. Trace, any closing words?
I just want to say, I think it's important to, when you sign up a new business partner, is to show them and lead by example. So show them the system, support them, and teach them how to duplicate. So when they duplicate, then they can duplicate in their team, and so on and so forth. And that's sort of, if you keep it simple, I think that's what's going to help and grow their business. And remember to have fun doing it.
Yeah, I get a little too serious, so I'm trying to have more fun. We're going to have a blast in San Antonio, I'll tell you that.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Well, Trace, I thank you for getting on here. I know Mike was busy, and I'll be seeing him soon, but loved your input. We're going to crush it this year. 2016 is going to be huge for a lot of people on the team.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Can't wait, guys. Listen.
Getting online, and we can wrap it up.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, Trace. We'll talk to you soon.
See you in the convention. Bye.
San Antonio, baby. See ya.
Bye.